Right, Anthony Joshua has said his career is far from over despite Saturday night's damaging defeat to Daniel Dubois. We understand there is no rematch clause, but Anthony Joshua is contracted for one more fight with Riyadh Season, and Dubois could be a potential opponent for that. But Dubois is under no obligation to have that immediate rematch with Joshua. Let's get more on this now and speak live to his promoter, Eddie Hearn. Lovely to see you, Eddie. So let's clear this up first and foremost. The rematch clause, what's happening? Is there a rematch clause for these two?
So, as you were quite right in what you said, we do have a further fight with Riyadh Season and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. And that could include a rematch with Daniel Dubois. Obviously, from our side, that's one of the fights that we could accept and would be willing to accept. But at the same time, His Excellency will have to deal with Frank Warren and make sure that, they can look at a potential fight with us. But I think at the moment it's more about, looking at the options for Anthony. I spoke to him about 10 minutes ago, and it's all very fresh at the moment. I mean, just over 24 hours after the fight. So plenty of options and plenty of things to consider and think about as well.
So just to confirm, I just want to make sure we're clear on this. The rematch clause wasn't there as such, but potentially these two will get it on again.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to fight a number of opponents with Riyadh Season, and Daniel Dubois could be one of them, yes. So if that was something that we wanted to push with Riyadh Season and His Excellency, we could, but at the same time would also be open to be looking at other fights as well, particularly focusing on, I think, December 21st as well.
Yeah, what about the place? Would it be at Wembley again, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, AJ loved Saturday. I mean, I know it didn't go his way, but I think the whole experience was incredible. I mean, it was one of the best shows we've ever worked on, and I think the atmosphere for British boxing was incredible. He's kicking himself a little bit because I think, as these final stages here, you saw him just buzz Dubois and get carried away. But by then, the damage was set in after a treacherous couple of rounds as well. But I'm proud of him because he tried to win the fight. You get a lot of people who get hurt, who come to survive, and you get others who actually want to let their hands go, hold their feet and trade and try and win. And that's what he did. He didn't stop trying till he couldn't get up anymore. And, he got up many times that night, but that was a big right hand from Daniel Dubois and one too many.
He was on the back foot from the first round, you have to say, wasn't he? What was going through your mind at that stage when you saw him get tagged in the first round? Did you think, hang on a minute?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first round's the first round of a fight. And, he made some basic errors, what you just saw there, moving back in a straight line with his chin in the air. That was a huge right hand. That was a right hand that would have knocked most heavyweights out. AJ took it, got up, obviously didn't really fully recover. And the second round was even worse. He touched down in the second round. They let the fight go on, and then he took a bit of a beating against the ropes, got up again. I mean, I couldn't believe, to be honest with you, we were even going into round 4 or 5. I thought he showed so much heart, just kept giving up, not quitting at all. And, nearly found his way back into the fight. But, when he did try and get back in the fight after getting a little bit excited, he walked on to one, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful to watch. Nobody wants to see that, particularly in the heavyweight division. But like you're saying there, you were surprised it even went to a fifth, quite frankly. What went wrong for AJ in this? Because he was kind of pre-warned that Daniel Dubois was going to come out quickly.
Yeah, I think he made a lot of mistakes. I think training camp had been great. There's definitely no complaints from our side. I think he prepared really well. He was sparring excellently. And on the night, he didn't really do as he was told in terms of the game plan. He let Daniel Dubois take the centre of the ring. He let him be the governor in there. And he paid the price. And the start was horrendous. I think to get chinned like that at the end of the first round, it's very difficult to recover from. And, he did amazingly well to recover and go into those fourth and particularly the fifth round. But, the damage was done early on after the terrible start. And, he's kicking himself for not performing how he should have, really, on a big night.
Eddie, look, he's fair to say the golden boy of boxing. What he's done to this division is, as no one else has done this, quite frankly. He's put it on the map. Is the pressure getting to him, do you think?
No. I mean, he's had pressure since 2012. I think winning gold at your hometown Olympics is quite a lot of pressure. Going out and fighting Vladimir Klitschko when you don't really have the experience in front of 90,000 people in 2016 is quite a lot of pressure. You know, going out and rematching Andy Ruiz to save your career is a lot of pressure. Fighting Usyk twice is a lot of pressure. It's not really the pressure. He just underperformed on the night. And you have to give a lot of credit to Daniel Dubois as well. I thought he was fantastic. And, you know, he's really probably not getting as much credit as he deserves because everybody's talking about Anthony Joshua. You know, we know the size of the star. We know what he did. Look at Saturday night. I mean, none of this would be possible without Anthony Joshua. But Dubois won the fight, and he deserves a lot of credit. He's a very good young heavyweight. And, you know, he was too good on the night for Anthony, and Anthony accepts that. And he's very determined to come back as he has done before.
Does he need to?
I think need to, not really. I mean, I think everything depends. We had a couple of really good deep chats and good chats with Ben Davison. He's been on a fantastic run. I mean, 4 wins and the last 2 really looking back to his old best. He underperformed on Saturday night, no doubt. And we have to now determine why. You know, why he underperformed. Did he get it wrong on the night? I think a lot of where a fighter's at physically in their career, you can notice in training camp, you can notice in the hard spars. And he's been on fantastic form. You know, if he was getting wobbled in sparring or his timing wasn't there, that's the kind of things that you look at. And that hasn't been the case. He's looked sensational. So everyone's really disappointed because we all believed he would win on Saturday night. But he's certainly very determined. You know, he's already back to work this morning. He's been doing his usual rehab that he does even after winning. And, you know, he's frustrated, kicking himself. And in a weird way, he enjoyed the fight because it was the first fight like that where he's actually really gone deep in the trenches and gone into war. And he would much rather have won. But at the moment, he's actually got a spring in his step, asking me what I think should be next. So at the moment, there's absolutely no desire or, in my opinion, reason to retire. That really comes out of his own desire to continue in the sport. And whilst he's fit and on form, and he still has that desire, I'm okay. You know, now we'll see how he responds in the gym. Now we'll see what the options are for him next. But, you know, listen, there's a very good chance that 2025 could be his last year in the sport with a couple of big fights. So that's all he's really interested in, is the biggest fights in the sport. And at the moment, just frustrated and eager to come back.
Eddie, you look really shocked, if you don't mind me saying. You know, when you were ringside speaking after the fight, you were very honest in your assessment. You know, you already said he made a few mistakes. You say he hasn't spoken about retirement. You said he's asking you what next. In your heart, what's next for him?
I think there's a couple of options. I mean, the 2 obvious ones, I think any fighter would want to take a rematch. You saw when he got stopped by Andy Ruiz at Madison Square Garden, everyone said, don't take the rematch. You know, give yourself a rebuilding fight and then look at the rematch. He went straight into the rematch. He won every round. When he lost to Alexander Usyk, everyone said, don't take the rematch. You can't beat Usyk. He took the rematch. He lost again. It was a much better performance, but still lost. Now we have to sit and talk together as a team. My advice is don't do anything until December 21st, Usyk against Fury. If Tyson Fury loses that fight, you set up a big fight with Anthony Joshua. If Tyson Fury wins that fight, he could make a voluntary defense against Anthony Joshua for the Unified World Heavyweight Championship. So in AJ's mind, I think all he'll want to do is get back in with Daniel Dubois because him and the team think they can beat him. But in my mind, I think we have to wait to see what happens with Tyson Fury, because if AJ's looking at a couple of big fights in 2025 and there is an opportunity still to fight Tyson Fury, which I believe there is because it's still the biggest fight in the division by a mile, I think that's something we should look at as well. So the answer to your question is no immediate plans. Just relax, have a holiday, get back to work, get back to the gym, and then look at the opportunities of what's next. You know, even in defeat, still the biggest star in Britain with Tyson Fury and possibly around the world. But obviously we don't want to lose and he doesn't want to lose. But, you know, as we close the chapters to his career, he will be looking for the biggest fights in the sport as he closes them out.
There are ex-boxers, though, and other people calling for him to retire, to sort of almost like save himself. Just retire, just give it up. We know what you've given to this division. We know what you've done. You've got a legacy. Go forward in something else, you know, teaching the next generation. What do you say to those people that are advising him to retire right now?
Well, I think a lot of them don't really know him, and they don't really know how he's been looking, how he's feeling, the desire that he's got. All I can tell you is that he's got a lot of good people around him that care deeply about him. I mean, one thing that he's been absolutely shocked by, and I'm not shocked by it, is the support that he's received. You know, and it's really lifted him because he's a brave-faced guy. You know, I don't think he'll want anyone to feel sorry for him or you know, be disheartened for him. But at the same time, he is gutted and he is devastated by the defeat. And the support that he's had from the British public has been incredible. You know, and I think that for me, people like Ben Davison, people like Freddie Cunningham, 258, his family, these are the people that know him inside out. These are the people that speak to him and see him day to day. He's been looking like the best of his whole career going into this fight. So Saturday, he underperformed. We have to establish why. But in his heart, he feels fresh. He feels like he's still got a lot to give to the sport. But there's no rush. You know, we're going to go away. We're going to take our time. And we're going to look at the options for Anthony Joshua. And there'll be no decisions, as I said, before December 21st. So, you know, right now, it's just relax, take your time. The desire is 100% there to still fight. Physically, if he can still be the fighter that he has been and we believe he is, then you will see him continue. And that's something we'll be talking to him about in the future. But, you know, 100% you will see him back in the ring in 2025.
OK, look, just finally, I mean, you mentioned Ben, you know, obviously he knows him more than most. He knows what he's going through during the fight. What did he say to you? What's he had to say to you either today or after the fight?
Just, you know, Ben was, I think Ben's an honest trainer in the fact that he's been receiving a huge amount of credit for AJ's last two performances. He's looked scintillating. He's looked back to his spiteful best. And, you know, Ben was a benefactor of that form. Obviously, he underperformed on Saturday and didn't box well. And Ben says, look, as a team, we have to take that on the chin and we have to take responsibility of that as well. So, you know, they're already looking at the tapes. They're already studying to try and show AJ where it went wrong, what he did wrong, and how he can improve, particularly if he meets Dubois again. So everyone's devastated as a team. You know, we're all very close. Probably one of the nicest blokes I've ever met. And if you know Anthony Joshua, you'd be devastated for him right now. And you know, like I said, the support that he's had has really lifted him. And you know, I said to him, you know, you took a little bit of a shellacking on Saturday. You haven't got a mark on your face. He goes, I know, you know, I feel all right. So it was, you know, it was a heavy night at the office, but he's got a spring in his step. And in his mind, it's all about the get back.
Yeah, it's good to hear because it did look, from the outside looking in, very brutal. But it's really good to get your thoughts today, Eddie. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot. Take care.